All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Positive Psychology Tools for Coaches, Resources, and Leaders. And so in this session, we are going to work on redefining love. So let me just make this screen a little smaller, and then we can get started. Okay, so first, for some of you who don't know me, my name is Braco, Pobric, and I am certified positive psychology coach, certified neurolinguistic or NLP practitioner, former globally certified Dale Carnegie trainer, and also work full-time as an executive in a large financial firm. I am the best-selling author of the book called Habits and Happiness, How to Become Happier and Improve Your Well-Being by Changing Your Habits. And my work and my book has been endorsed by many folks, including Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar from Harvard, Sean Acor, Christine Comerford, and many others. Pleasantly to pronounce that my book was a #1 bestseller on Amazon in self-help, happiness, and applied psychology. Now, I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes. I know some of you already went through this, but just to go over what this meetup is all about. So it is really all about us helping our clients flourish. And regardless what positive psychology model we use, or you decide to use, it might be PERMA by Dr. Amartya Seligman, it might be Aspire by the Whole Being Institute. I know we have a lot of coaches from the Certification of Positive Psychology program by Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, and so on. So regardless what we do and what tools we decide to use, it is really all about helping our clients flourish. So I do want to quickly say that this meetup is not about, social work and counseling and psychotherapy, therapy, traditional psychology. All these things that I will certainly learn, and many of us will learn from you folks, but I just want to make it clear that I am not licensed psychologist, psychotherapist, neuroscientist, psychiatrist, and so on. But we will discuss all these tools that all of you, regardless what your practice is, will be able to apply in your work. And again, just briefly, for some of you that are new to this webinar, really the goal of positive psychology is to focus on what we are good at rather than what we're not. It is to focus on what our clients are good at rather than what they're not. It is really bringing the folks from, if you look at the traditional psychology, it was all about taking people from, -10, and moving them to -5, -4, -2, and really bringing them to 0, to this baseline that basically they can function, right? And then the work of most of the psychologists, psychotherapists is then basically finished. What we want to do in positive psychology is take the folks from that 0 and move them to +1, +2, +3, right? So move them to become even happier and to improve their overall well-being. Now, there are a lot of other webinars and workshops that we talk in more details about positive psychology, but I just want to give a quick overview for some of you who are new. Now, the agenda for today. I'm going to talk about the interview for the Live Happy magazine that some of us and some of you maybe even on a call were done for Happy magazine. I'm going to introduce some love habits, and they may not be what you think. I will cover briefly some of the love research by Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, loving kindness meditation. Then we are going to talk about John Gottman, who we call the Einstein of love. And you probably heard of him, but we're going to spend a few minutes on Dr. John Gottman. We're going to talk about what is a really healthy marriage and what does it take to have a happy and healthy relationships. And we're going to have a Q&A at the end. It will be kind of like a separate session. All of these things that we are going to discuss is really just like any other tool. We really have to make sure these tools that we apply in our own life before we can introduce and help our clients do the same. I always really emphasize this, because we don't want to teach something that we didn't try. We don't want to teach something that doesn't work on us, right? So it's really key that anything that we do here, any tools that we apply in our own life, and then if it works, work with our clients. So really, what is love? Well, the other day I just picked up actually the magazine Live Happy from my magazine library, if you will, and was thinking, when we did myself and some of my positive psychology colleagues were asked to discuss love for the Live Happy magazine. And I want to share some of the really what was really discussed and what came out rather out of this. I'm going to move myself here. What came out out of this discussion? So a couple of things that came up. You really don't need to be in relationships to have love. See, we always think of love as being in relationship, right? Being with someone. But that is love, certainly, but there is more to it. You could have a loving kindness relationship with a stranger, with certainly, with the family members, with the friends, people that you know, but people that you even don't know, you could experience love. The practicing meditation, other forms of mindfulness actually help to kind of get more of love, if you will. Some of us recommended to get some more love, that you can walk, cook, dance, listen to music. This is all of these things and more really give us this, a love chemical that we can discuss a little later. Now, again, we're talking about us, but those are the things that you need to discuss with your clients and implement some of these tools with your clients. Hug more. There is so much research that just simply giving a hug to someone that increases our happiness level. Just spend a more relaxed time, unstructured time together. So one of my colleagues in positive psychology recommended that he or she rather has a time when no screens, no technology is allowed. So they could be in the kitchen, in the dining room, living room. There's certain time that we can all just relax and spend the time, not just, family of four having a dinner and they're all in love or love each other, certainly. But then you see four people just, doing this during the dinner. That's really not how we experience most of love. Another individual actually suggested that we just use technology wisely. She basically said that she uses technology to get together with her family, right? So she's on a Skype, get together with the family members who are far away, and this is how she experiences love. So certainly we can use technology to experience more love, but use it wisely, and or sometimes don't use it to experience even more love. Certainly making eye contact with someone will experience more love. Doing the handshake. I often open some of my workshops by having people just go down and do that handshake, where we get some more love chemical. So, and then certainly this was one of my favorite. You probably, if you read my book, Habits and Happiness, then you know that I talked about smile and the research on smile and what really happens when you smile. What happens that when you smile, when you make this, even just make this gesture of smiling, truly smiling, that you get some dopamine, you get some happy chemical. So that by itself will help you, go through the day if you do it early in the morning, and or just have experience better relationships with other people, because you first will be happier. So those are some of the things that, you know, I discovered my colleagues through some of our research. And there was another 21 days webinars where we did the self-love revolution with Dr. Tina Christie. I don't believe this was a free online event. Don't believe the videos are available anymore. However, if you reach out, I will try to get this from Tina. I don't think they're available right now. But basically, there's just a lot of research and work on love. And she called this the self-love, because without, you know, loving yourself, you truly cannot love other people. So we always have to start with ourselves. And that's why even, you know, when we talk about tools in positive psychology that we want to recommend to our clients, I always recommend to start with yourself first and make sure that works. Here actually on screen you'll see Dr. Barbara Fredrickson. When I was presenting at the International Positive Psychology Association last year in Florida, had an opportunity to chat with Barbara and hear her latest research, where we're gonna hear a little bit more about little about Barbara's research. Her work is certainly highly recommended if you want to learn about love. So let's talk about this positive resonance and Barbara Fredrickson. Well, as per Barbara Fredrickson, you know, what is really love? This is what she called positive resonance. And she would say that micro moment of warmth and connection that you share with another living being. That micro moment of warmth and connection that you share with another living being. That is love, as per Barbara. That is that positive resonance. So, again, as per Barbara, if we look at what love looks like, if you will, it basically has three parts. So number one is that you and someone else share one or more positive emotions. And you can certainly, as we go through this, think about another person in your life that when you share one or more positive emotions. So that's really like step number one. So you and someone else share one or more positive emotions. The number two is synchrony kicks in. So your brains actually start to tangle. It's actually amazing how our brain will actually connect and synchronize during many different situations. Specifically now we're talking about love and sharing positive emotions. And then number three is that when you and the other person begin to care even more for each other. So again, the love or positive resonance is the three steps. The step number one is that you and someone else share one or more positive emotions. The step number two is when that synchrony kicks in and your brain starts to dance together. And then number three is that you and the other person actually begin to care more for each other. So that is as per Barbara Fredrickson, how she sees love and positive resonance. So let's move on. Let's look at some research on love. So scientists, there is basically scientific research on feeling warm and fuzzy. You know, it was, I guess it was hard really to define, but now we know that it has a positive effects on brain, has a positive effect on your heart, and basically even your lifespan. So think about this, that feeling of warmth and fuzzy, right, has a positive effect on your brain, heart, and even lifespan, which means that you live longer if you have more positive resonance or more love experience. The positive connections actually create that neural coupling and synchronizes brain activities between people. So we just talked about that earlier, right? How that's one of the steps. So there is some synchronicity happens between our brains when we experience love, when we experience that positive resonance. I often talk about love chemical I call it simply love chemical because it's easier just in the public workshops, love hormone. It's oxytocin, and most of you know, right? You are teaching this to other folks, so you know what it is. It's basically, as I said earlier, I start most of my workshops that I ask people to go down and shake hands, and basically I establish that trust, right? So people establish that trust within each other so that we can easily share confidential information and so on. That is really the way I explain how we start, especially longer workshops. We talked about how brains are connected. We know that brains, basically they mirror each other in many situations, and particularly now we're talking about positive resonance. And there's also another research that shows that this neural synchrony, that synchronicity actually happened between you and a stranger. So it's not just the love with you and your loved one, but it really can happen between you and the stranger. I'm sure it happened many times to you. There are so many movies that basically just shows that, right? Love between strangers. And it's actually interesting that Dr. Barbara Fredrickson shared her research on love with His Holiness Dalai Lama, who was very, very impressed with the research. So I just thought it's really good for us to know if anybody asked us. So in the workshops, I usually will do a small loving kindness meditation. So if this was a short, right? So if this was if you do this in the workshops, or if you want to even experience with the clients, then I suggest that you also teach them loving kindness meditation. And here on the screen, you will see, Love 2.0. That's the Barbara Fredrickson book, really highly recommended. My other colleague, Emma Sepala, and you can see on the screen here her book. This book is called The Happiness Track. But it's really cool. She did this really great article where she outlined 18 scientifically based benefits of loving kindness meditation. I'm sure some of you practice already loving kindness, some of you teaching loving kindness, and if you don't, I strongly suggest that you do a little bit more research on loving kindness. I will briefly go through this for some of you that have access, see it on the screen. You can certainly read it. Some folks are on the phone, so I will read some of this. So number one was really that increases positive and decreases negative emotions. Kind of pretty straightforward. You'll also see that there is a list of resources and who did the research and when. And basically in the presentation, there's a link to each of these resources, so that for some of us who really want to get much deeper into this will be a great resource to have. So number one, increases positive, decreases negative emotions. So, okay, that makes sense. Increases feeling of social connections. That makes sense too, right? Now, decreases migraines. That kind of didn't just come up naturally for me, but research done by Tonelli 2014 shows that the loving kindness meditation decreases migraines. Decreases chronic pain. This was researched by Carson in 2005. It basically decreases PTSD. So it's amazing, but some of the researchers, some of the folks who practice and teach loving kindness meditation work also with patients with the PTSD. And based on this research by Johnson in 2011, shows that loving kindness meditation also decreases PTSD. Now, this is a really big one, and basically decreases schizophrenia and schizophrenia, sorry, and basically spectrum disorder. So I really think that's really amazing. Again, done by Johnson. I believe it's the same time when he did, the work on PTSD. Activates empathy and emotional processing in the brain. That certainly makes sense, right? Because that's why we do loving kindness, to get more empathy, to connect with people. Increases the great matter volume. That's really interesting. And then, let's see, start from number 9 is the increases respiratory sinus arrhythmia. Interesting. Decreases telomere length. It's a biological marker of aging. and again, means that we can live longer. Makes you a more helpful person. Makes absolutely sense. Increases compassion, and certainly we know that in the Buddhist traditions, they practice loving kindness meditation. We know that, they are very compassionate people, and certainly the increases compassion does make sense. Empathy, decreases bias toward others. We already talked about increasing social connections, reducing self-criticism. This is really important, right? And depressive symptoms. Loving kindness is very effective, even like when we do like 10 minutes, right? There was another research done that shows that even if we do 10 minutes of loving kindness, that it has a lot of effect, and really has a long-term impact. So regardless how long we do the loving kindness meditation, hopefully we do, at least for 10 minutes, it really increases, has a long-term impact in our life. So, again, I didn't want to spend a lot of time, but I think it's important that you understand the benefits of loving kindness, because you need to practice it if you don't already, and then explain to your clients and have them practice loving kindness. Now we are going to talk about a gentleman named John Gottman. Most of you know, and if you don't, sorry about that, let's have some water. John Gottman has done research for over 30 years. And here's what he did, he and his wife. He basically would be with 90% accuracy. He would know if people are going to get divorced just by watching the tape, 10 minutes, having people in a room, recording it, then analyzing the tape. So when he realized that he can really predict with 90% accuracy if people are going to get divorced, he said, well, why don't I try to help them stay together instead of just predicting their divorce? So that's really what he started working on. And he realized that we need to have, in order to keep healthy, good relationships, we need to have a ratio of 5-to-1 positive emotions versus negative emotion. So you need 5 positive emotions for every negative emotion. So think about, in order to keep healthy. So people who have 5 positive emotions against 1 negative emotions are the people who stay together in a happy and healthy relationships. Now, there are other things that he discovered. What else they do? Number 1 was a humor. They laugh, they have fun together, they are exercising a lot of humor, right? Number 2 was gratitude. So these people are grateful to their life, to what they have, to their relationships, and so on. Again, another workshop that I do is just on the gratitude. Forgiveness. These people are more forgiving than other people. And disclosure, meaning that it is really important that they will disclose to their partner everything that's going on in their life. So that was the research of John Gottman. And now I did the other day the character strength. There was September 22nd was the character day. So this slide actually was from there. And if you think of love, and you can just think this for yourself, and you can ask this to your clients as well if this is something they're working on. So what's the one thing that they can do, this week to develop or make even stronger this strength? So if they want to experience more love, ask them to come up with one thing, just one thing for the week. If you see your clients every week or however the schedule is, but ask them before they come next time. So take the next day to come with one thing, and then apply it in their life. That will make this even stronger, the strength of love. So that would be a question really for your client. Now, in a moment, we are going to go over really what this group is all about. So what this meetup is all about and why would you join? That's certainly a question I would ask if I'm on the call. Let me just tell you how this all started, and this really is a big idea. I am not going to, and I cannot relieve everything, but I'm gonna tell you how this whole thing started and how we can truly utilize and this group to do big things. So last year, as I mentioned earlier, I presented at the IPPA conference, International Positive Psychology Association, and was happy to be there with my friend and mentor, Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, with Martin Seligman, have an opportunity to see their talk and to talk to them, have an opportunity to talk to Dr. Mihail Csikszentmihalyi, who you all know from his tremendous work life of flow. And then a couple of months ago, I was in Dallas presenting at the International Festival of Positive Education, organized by IPAN, and it was really great. Had a large audience there. And then last 2 months ago, I think I was in Philly presenting at the International Conference of Positive Psychology and Cognitive Behavior Therapy. And while going through all of this, what really kind of clicked in me from the first, from this conference of 2005 until last month or 2 months ago in Philly, I kept thinking how this is all great, right? So I am privileged to have an opportunity to go to these large conferences. I'm also privileged to have an opportunity to present at these conferences. Now, people who come to these conferences are very privileged as well, just as attendees. If you think about it, these conferences are very expensive. So you're talking about $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 just to come. Then you have your travel expenses, you have your food, you have your room and so on. So basically you're talking about spending, at least a couple of $1,000s to go to any of the conferences. And who can really afford? A lot of my positive psychology friends, a lot of you are unable often to go to these conferences. And like I said, I'm really privileged and extremely grateful that I'm able to. But that doesn't really do it justice. What do we really do there? We present to the audience that already have a lot of knowledge on the subject. We present to the audience that have the opportunity to come. We present to the audience that honestly have money to, just come, and maybe they'll do something with this, maybe they won't. Maybe they just came and spend a few days, week in Florida, and they might attend a couple of speeches. I don't really know, but there's a group of mixed audience. But what we don't do with this is we don't bring it to the street. And one of the person who really does this so well is Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, and he always talks about this, and he's the one who truly does it. But how do we take this? How do we take this knowledge that we have, and a lot of my colleagues in positive psychology, put it all together and bring it really to our clients, bring it to your clients, bring it to your workshops, bring it to what you do every day and so on. So that's really how this big idea started. And so this is just the beginning, just so you know. It's just the very beginning. It is a very small group that I started. There's this particular group is on for coaches and therapists and leaders and everybody else, right, that wants to learn and apply and teach others. And then there's another group on positive psychology that are just positive psychology, folks who want to learn about positive psychology. So with this group, we are going to have monthly live webinars, and we're going to invite many special positive psychology guests where you'll have an opportunity to ask questions at the end, and we're going to have the Q&A sessions. Provide one-on-one coaching to help other folks develop their practice and or implement the tools. Do the monthly in-person workshops. So currently, this particular one is in Princeton, and we are planning to branch it to all over the world, right? That's the big goal. It's going to be broadcasted all over the world, but we're also going to, with your help, branch this in many different cities. You are going to have access to really hundreds of tools, articles, positive psychology books, your latest research. It will be all in one place so that you won't have to, Google all these things, but everything that we apply will be in one place. I already have a number of folks who gave me access to my program participants free, to their books, to their seminars. We just keep increasing and increasing. And again, the goal is to really have a lot of this. You will have, this is only for certain workshops, it's 50% discount. I cannot guarantee for all that members of this group will provide, but certainly for some it will be 50% discount for future trainings. There are, right now, I am giving my own, and again, we are expanding this, 5 online programs valued over like $1,000. Each one is, I believe, average about $200, that you will have access totally free of charge. So you can go there, download, get the lectures, lifetime access, no question asked, right? And then you'll see what are these programs. So it's all based on science of positive psychology. So there will be really kind of like introduction, science of positive psychology. There will be, there is a program on how to create a routine. So it's basically habits and happiness. There is a program on some tools of positive psychology, mindfulness, and another positive psychology research and tools program. Certainly you'll get my signed book, and I'm hoping that when other positive psychology practitioners joins us as well, that they will also offer our members free signed book once we get together and do this in person. And like I said, there are many other free resources from positive psychology. So that's really like for all of us. That's for the membership, just a high level. There will be other things such as helping start a business, helping start a website, helping start an online presence, and so on. Now, here's the resource for the practitioners, right? So people who are already practicing positive psychology. So you're going to have access to really the positive psychology community. So folks locally and globally who truly are hungry to learn about positive psychology. Now, how are you going to have access? Well, first of all, you will have access to all of my resources, and then again, as folks join more and more, you will have access to their resources as well. So it's really access to a large pool of positive psychologists, folks who are certified positive psychologists, folks who have a master in positive psychology, folks who practice, teach, coach, and so on. There is really a large online and offline audience. So this is just my own, that I have over 18,000 registered online students in 150, I believe it's like now 154 or 155 countries. So it's really like all over the world. And then there are some other resources. I have a page, I have about 1,300 followers. There's a closed group, and this is a great resource. There's a closed group, and it's really created only for folks who took my program, so this particular one, and has about 600 registered users, again, only people who already took my workshops, and they have access to a lot of great resources there. So, so that you will have access to that as well. Really ability to create, co-create an online program, so that if we do something together, again, right now is with over 18,000 registered students, and tomorrow is going to be 20, 25, 30, 50,000 once we combine even more people together. So you will have access to all these folks if you want to create your own online program. We are connecting really positive psychology community. Really, you can create a platform in the audience where we are rather creating a platform that where we can all, so yourself, that you will be able to present, teach, share, do the workshops. So maybe it's in person, it's some of our facilities, maybe it's online, but really to get the true support from each other without paying these thousands of dollars, right? Without going to these expensive conferences, and some of us will still do, right, if we can, but a lot of us are unable to. One thing that I just did when I presented at the International Festival of Positive Education again, realizing that a lot of my friends have no access to this, I basically broadcasted a ton of interviews, from Sean Acorn to many others, so that to show to people what is happening, and that you will see more and more of that. So that's really important. We can help you to, again, establish the local and the global present as a practitioner of positive psychology, and really, to present, to teach, to advertise this program, and so on. So this group is simply community funded. So I created this community, and then we're going to really fund it ourselves. So here's really why we do this funding. There's a lot of cost around this, right? There's technology costs. There are some, resources fees, room assignment if it is in person, supply, equipment, rent for local meetup, content creation, some advertising, and really a lot more, right? So we need to have people who will help us behind the scene and pay them to really grow and develop this group. And so for you to get access to all of these resources, it's really right now, if you are joining this call, you are the member of Positive Psychology Tools for coaches, leaders, therapists. And so you're basically on a trial membership. So you have your membership will expire in 30 days. And all you really need to do is it's $29.99, it's $30 monthly fee. And they will really give you access to all of this, which I really think it's, for all of us, is really a great thing to have, and to be able to take this and apply in our practice. And if you think about, what is it that some of us charge in coaching sessions and or training, this $30 a month is certainly something that we can all afford. And in case that you just came to this webinar through another source, then you will see here, if you are looking online, the website is on a meetup, and the group name is Positive Psychology Toolkit for Coaches and Counselors. That was like the original name, and then we really didn't change the URL. But if you look at the Positive Psychology Toolkit for Coaches, you will find this group in case that you are not a member right now. So again, there will be a lot of additional resources that I really didn't go through, but I did want to stop here and then go to answer questions, where we have about 20 minutes for that.